Welcome back on the AM show. It's still Ghana month. Yeah, I'm watching. Yeah, that's Bibri say. And now no pay when you see our ha. Just say yeah, back to come news review. You know, Kratana yeah back in kind of someone we need here. They be you will be yeah then the come. So we're going to continue from there, and to usher us into the news review, we shall of course talk about Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They help us bring you this segment every weekday, and they're still offering you free prostate screening if you're a man, free fertility screening if you're a woman. Go check on yourself, do maintenance just as you would do for your car or other machine, because guess what, if you don't, someday you could just find out that things have gone askew and it may have gone too far on. Here's where you can locate them. Here in Accra, they are at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi, Kronoma here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswe and Siamanzama. Their call lines are 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But just the start of the news review, I'd like to seize the opportunity of thanking Sewa Abankwa of Seraban Clothing for fitting me out and for the many things she's done for me for the month of March. You know, it's Ghana month and she's put together a few things, classy stuff. So Sewa Abankwa, located at Kawukudi Club 10 area. Thank you so much for the outfits. Now, my guest this morning for the news review, he is a senior lecturer at the UCC, University of Cape Coast School of Business. Dr. Seram Kawo is our guest. Doc, good morning, and thank you for staying with us for Ghana month in your Fugu or your Batakari.
Thank you very much, my brother. Good morning.
Right. So let's get into
Ghana
some.
month, we need to protect and showcase Ghana.
Well, here we are showcasing it as well as we can. Usually I do this, I allow for about 2 minutes for my guest to reflect on something topical that he or she would like to talk about. It could still be from the Sona, it could be from happenings over the weekend, so many developments. I don't know which one you would like to talk about, but over to you before we get into the papers.
Okay, I think I want to talk about the LGBTQ bill that was passed in Parliament and the issues that came out with it over time. Yes, we want to protect the proper human rights and sexuality of the country. We want to uphold our cultural values. And so Parliament, in its own wisdom, decided to pass the bill. Once we pass the bill in Parliament, the onus is now on the presidency to assent to the bill to make it a law. And we have heard countries that are threatening to impose sanctions on the country, and the arguments that have been raised by civil society organizations and all those ones. We only want to put it on record that this is a country of law, and the Constitution guarantees freedom of association, but where the freedom of association would impugn on the sanctity of the society, that needs to be protected. And so we need our diplomats and diplomatic options, negotiators to go deep into this and negotiate with the countries that will be imposing sanctions on us, so that at the end of the day, the country will not suffer any economic hardship. As we speak, we depend mostly on donor countries, most of which support the LGBTQ community. There are some that are doing businesses in Ghana. And for that matter, we need to be much objective and not be sentimental when we are dealing with this particular law. Yes, people have the association to do whatever they want to do at the comfort of their homes, but they should not bring it to us. They should not bring it to our children. They should not indoctrinate our children. The child that I brought up, I should be allowed to train that particular child. So if a group of persons decide that they are not going to give birth naturally, and they would want to do their own things, well, it is their own cup of tea. but then we need to make sure that we protect our society. We should also not just be looking at the aspect of the law that has been passed. We have several laws that have been passed in Ghana, and most of them are sleeping. The enforcement are not working very well. And so we also need to look at that aspect where this promotion of LGBTQ and all those things can take place in schools, can take place in movies, can take place in the books and materials that our children read. And that is where parenthood comes in, and parents must be more conscious to what they teach their children, what their children read, what their children watch, so that we can protect that sexuality and the proper human values that we value in our country.
Well, thank you for your thoughts. There's been a lot of debate on these matters and what the way forward ought to be. Some reasoning on both sides. Some have said, for example, that what you do in your bedroom shouldn't be criminalized. But of course, it is what you put out there and the promotion of same. Human rights issues have come up juxtaposed with culture and sensibilities of certain people. The argument you've raised, some have said that don't corrupt my children, but others have also said, but we also have rights just as you, and who comes to see what you're doing in your bedroom in this or that manner. So arguments on both sides, but now the bill has gone before His Excellency the President. Are you expecting him to sign it? How quickly? Just a quick thought on that and then we can move.
All right. So once the bill has gone to the presidency, the Constitution mandates the president to sign the bill. And so I don't expect anything more than the president signing the bill to uphold the Constitution and the oath of office he has taken. And so we hope within a period of 2 weeks, the president, and that's my expectation, that after the other consultations and all the rest, the president will assent to the bill. And you know, this is something that the entire country or majority of the population, the civil society organizations, some are for. And so we are also in an election year. The failure of the president to sign the bill might be something that will go to the negative of the political party he belongs to. So his hands are tight, and he is not the one who would feel it alone, but the entire country, especially his failure to sign the bill, would negatively affect the fortunes of the political party he belongs to.
All right, let's get into the newspapers now. The Daily Graphic as well. Start. Excellent grades not enough. Acquire skills. President advises youth. Election 2024. EC releases calendar, and they've been. Some have said that they've been late. They've tarried in some of these developments, but here they are. They have released the calendar. Experts issue 2024 weather forecast. National District Awards. Kokma Best Performing Assembly. On the back page, Oli Kotoko secure win, and then Kotoko pipping Gold Stars to win by 1 goal to nothing, and Olympics actually beating Hearts of Lions by 2 goals to nothing. And Hearts won again, Accra Hearts of Oak, I mean. So if you look at the league log now, after 19 matches played, Kotoko is in second with 19 points, but Samatex has played 18 and they are still on top with 35 points. If they win, the gap will be 6 points for those sports aficionados. Ediana is third with 30 points, and Twatreman also fourth with 30 points, and then Brekum Chelsea also with 30 points. Hearts of Oak in 7th position with 27 points, and Heart of Lions in the relegation zone 16th with 18 points. But let's get into the story. So the Electoral Commission will receive nominations of candidates for this year's presidential and parliamentary elections from September the 9th to the 13th in a major countdown to the climax of the political season. Now, this will be followed by the balloting for positions on the presidential ballot paper on September 23, 2024, and the parliamentary balloting on September 24, 2024. Furthermore, the Electoral Commission expects to declare the results of the 2024 presidential polls within 3 days of voting of the voting exercise if everything goes according to plan. And goes according to plan can be subjective. We saw what happened in the district assembly elections, largely successful. You have to give it to the EC. But there were places where ballot papers, the necessary requirements for voting were not there till around 1, 2 p.m. when you had set around that time for your time of closing. Some had to go deep into the night, some had to be postponed, and all of that. So a number of factors. Now we know the EC has agreed to use indelible ink and that voting is on December the 7th. So I guess other issues to look at. But to conclude, in its program of activities for the 2024 general election obtained exclusively by the Daily Graphic, the EC will conduct a voters registration exercise from May 7 to May 27, 2024, and proceed with a nationwide exercise to replace missing voter ID cards from May the 30th, 2024. The registration exercise will, however, be preceded by 56 days of public education on the exercise from April 1 to May 26, 2024. Let me just quickly add. So you have the EC, that is case number 1. Case number 2, or story number 2. Excellent grades not enough, acquire skills. And President Akufo-Addo has urged Ghanaian youth, especially students, to bear in mind that formal education is not just about securing excellent academic grades. He said students must additionally acquire skills, values, and knowledge that would empower them to make a positive impact on the world. He encouraged them to be curious, compassionate, and resilient because the country looked up to them not only as scholars, but also as ambassadors of the nation's potential in engendering progress, prosperity, and development. Over to you, Sairam. Any thoughts?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think let me take the excellent grade not enough aspect since I'm in the educational sector.
Right.
I couldn't have agreed with the president more. That excellence grades are not enough to guarantee you the job that you are looking for. Excellent grade does not guarantee you the skills that you are looking for. What you need and what we always tell our students is that you need to be more proactive. You need to think outside the box. You need to ensure that the things that are being taught, you really understand them and you can apply it to the job market. We may have some students that are very sharp, that are very brilliant, and so whatever that is being taught at that point in time can be imbibed. But the classroom is a limited area. Not everything can be taught. When assignments and case studies are given, the students are supposed to go out and make sure that they apply it critically and they are able to read in between the lines, pay attention to details so that they'll be able to apply these things on the job market. So skills training are part of the game, attending seminars and workshops that they have, making sure that they have good connection with friends and relatives all around the country, so that at the end of the day, by the time that they finish school, they may have acquired some of these skills. Practical attachments are very key. So we would call upon the business community that as we are training the students, the practical aspect is also very key. So when the students come to them and they want to do attachment with them, we plead that they accept these students so that they will be able to gain the practical aspect of the job. Not only for the students, even faculty needs the practical attachment to bridge the gap between industry and academia. There are occasions where we invite industry players into our lecture rooms to tell the students what is happening in the business world. We encourage these partnerships to continue so that our students will not only be focused on examination, but will try as much as possible to be focused on the skills that they learn so that they will be able to apply. There is no kind of laziness. When you are a young man listening to me, you will be able to get through easily. It is through determination, hard work, moving out of your comfort zone, making yourself uncomfortable, and then making sure that you go through the route, you go through the mill. That is when you can be more successful. Now, when it comes to the EC aspect, it's good that the calendar is out now. We have seen the timelines. All the political parties are much aware that the elections will be held on December 7th, though there were proposals that the date should be changed, that these proposals we know are late in the year for us to do that. So coming out with the calendar is very good for us. The calendar is a plan of action that is going to guide us. You have mentioned some of the issues that we need to avert our minds to. The election materials, the ballot papers reaching areas where they are supposed to get to, and then getting there late. Issues about securities, that will all go in to affect the release of the result from December 7th up to December 10th, the EC tries to put up. What we need to do is that there is the need for proper planning, engagement of the stakeholders. So we engage all political parties, civil society organizations. Good, somewhere in the plan, there is going to be a massive kind of education. This is a national election, and it is not new to us, and it is something that we all live up to. The campaign period, we hope that it will be civil, there will be decorum, so that we will not plunge our country into any kind of mayhem. So, though it is coming a little bit late,
right,
we applaud the EC for bringing this particular timetable. The time for the voter, the registration that will be done should be taken serious, where the exhibition of the voters register and all kinds of errors and all those things will come in, because it's going to help the political parties also plan in terms of manning the police station, their polling agents, the training they will have to give them. All of these things have to be targeted.
Right.
And so we hope that, though it's coming at this time, it is going to help all political parties make the needed decisions that they want to make. IPAC is very important. So once we have all the parties there, they should have frequent meetings. And once issues come and they discuss it, the EC have shown that they are listening. That is why they have brought the indelible mark ink back. And so that posture should be carried out so that we will see them to be neutral when they are exhibiting or performing their duties.
Executing their work.
I do not expect political parties to be defending the EC. They should all look at the ways and put the country first in what we do.
Right. I'll just add a little bit on the educational angle. I agree totally with Mr. President. Excellent grades are not enough. I scored excellent grades undergrad. It has continued. But the point is, regardless of that, what I've noticed and what I always assumed to be the case, you can make that first class, be in the top 1%, 2%, which is where I found myself. Beyond that, if you're not able to show something, get other skills, do something else, you'll not go anywhere. And I always use my work that I do as a broadcast journalist. I had not been to what is now Unimac or anything, but it depends on your skill sets and what you're able to do. So if you restrict yourself to have excellent grades, it could be your end, actually, in a very competitive world. But experts issue 2024 weather forecast. Scientists and meteorological experts from Gulf of Guinea countries have released the March to June 2024 seasonal weather forecast, which indicates a higher probability of wetter conditions across most parts of the sub-region. It also predicted late start and early ending of the rains along the southern areas of the Gulf of Guinea. Notably, areas such as eastern Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Togo, Benin, and western Nigeria are expected to experience late to normal starting of the rainy season this year. So be on the lookout for that. Don't get caught pants down. But just to conclude quickly on the international front, Nigeria orders Binance cryptocurrency firm to pay $10 billion. It's interesting how they moved from boom to bust. Debbie confirms plan to run for president. Chad's interim president Mahamat Idris Deby, said on Saturday he was planning to run in this year's long-awaited presidential race. I don't know what it is with African leaders and always wanting to be in power or advance in power when you look at them and what they are doing. I want to ask you. Page 9, Trump moves closer to Republican nomination, but Nikki Haley is holding her ground. And there's Israel demands names of hostages still alive. And that is part of mediation efforts. Let me get into the Daily Guide and do a few stories, get your response. NDC uses dumps Voltarians. That's according to Kofi Akpalu, LPG. You remember him. He says NDC only uses and dumps Voltarians. That's according to Kofi Akpalu. And Mansu Tontokrom clash leaves 3 dead. I'll do that story. So a violent clash between residents of Mansu Tontokrom and private security personnel deployed to protect the concession of Asanko Gold Mines Limited has left 3 individuals dead, sparking outrage and deepening tensions in that area. The violent altercation, which unfolded on Saturday, according to reports, took a deadly turn when security personnel resorted to firing gunshots, resulting in the death of a resident caught in the crossfire. Now, in a retaliatory act, enraged locals then took justice into their own hands, leading to the lynching of 2 members of the private security team, with another individual left severely injured. We brought you bits of that in the news earlier today with Sweetie Abochi. Any quick reactions to this? Kofi Akpalu and then the Mansu Tontokrom clash.
The clash is something that is worrying. We need to. What was the clash about?
Asanko Gold has its own concession. It is protecting it. There have been incidents in the past where people have got onto the concession and done things they shouldn't, illegal mining among others. But in seeking to protect their concession, some of these people got into an altercation with some members of the community, and they took, the law into their own hands, shot. Now, 3 people dead, and in a retaliatory act, they were also attacked. 2 members attacked by the other side, members of the area. 2 dead, 2 dead on their end, and 1 severely injured. So that's the story.
Yeah, my brother, this whole thing fits into the larger picture of Galamsey that we've been speaking about.
Right.
The destruction of our water bodies. Yesterday, there was a documentary from Joy on how the water bodies and the forest reserves are being destroyed.
Right.
There is a work that has been done that by 2027, there would be a global water crisis. So if there is going to be a global water crisis and the environment that we have, we destroy our environment with our own selfish interests and taking the law into our own hands, then there is a national security issue here.
Right.
The reason why a lot of the youth are now into Galamsey is simply because they don't have the skills, the jobs are not available, and where they are available, only few who belong to some political parties would be able to get those jobs. And so we need to go back and look at the national picture on how we can actually protect our environment. If you look at the documentary that I saw, it is heartbreaking to see our forests when we borrow money to plant trees. Monies are given to us to plant trees. Then we go back and destroy these same trees. There is a saying that when the last tree dies, the last man dies. And so there is the need for the country, the need for our leaders to always put our country first in all that they do. If they don't do that, we are going to be in trouble. The security agency should move in quickly and make sure that those who perpetrate these heinous crimes have to be brought to book. On the issue of NDC using the Voltarians and dumping them, this is a political season, and I won't go into issues where because a particular place is a stronghold of a political party, we would have to tag the people as being used and dumped.
Right.
What we need to look at is what are the developmental projects that are going on in this region. in terms of the road network, educational facilities, and all those things that are needed. Just like any other region that we have in Ghana, we need development in the areas. We need education and all the various social amenities that we have. Okay. And so using and dumping might be a strong word to use for the people, and that would disrespect the integrity of the individuals living in the region of Volta region.
Let's wrap with these quick stories very, very quickly. The new finder, Muslims show the way, present 14-point demands to flag bearers. That story is on page 8. And the National Muslim Conference of Ghana, led by National Chief Imam Sheikh Dr. Noor Sharabutu, has presented a 14-point Muslim manifesto to the leadership of the opposition NDC and the New Patriotic Party. Now, the conference outlined some of the proposals in their manifesto, which includes a request for the construction of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and technical and vocational education and training schools in all Zango communities in the 16 administrative regions of the country. They also talk about the 200 projects in Zangos by the MPP. Now, and the promise of saying, the Inquisitor, Kudi no day, empty kitty for Amin. I'm talking about Finance Minister Dr. Amin Adam. And it says 17 commencement warrants signed days before he took office. In other words, they've tied his hands. So those are the major stories there. The final one, Today newspaper, government's promise to pay Gold Coast customers. Nasika no wahe? That's the question posed here. You can reflect on one or a maximum two of them, and then we can go.
Okay. The 14-point demand for political parties, where the chief, is it the chief imam's office?
Yes.
That is leading this particular one. Just give us the point that the Zongo communities are very important. It also buttresses the views that a lot more people have on the Zongo development plan, and sometimes a minister that will be in charge of Zongo development has been a failure. If they had done what they have promised, especially the NPP, during their political campaign, that the Zongo communities will be well equipped with modern schools and other social amenities. If they had done that, I'm not sure the chief imam's office will come up with this. Nevertheless, it's a good point that they have made. They have made their demand. The political parties will have to look at it and factor this into their manifesto. In terms of the money not being available for the current finance minister, his hands are tight, yes. Why? The budget was already read, passed, negotiations have been entered into with the IMF. And so we do not expect him to do anything much more than making sure that he follows the budget and those things that have been agreed on. For the Gold Coast security issue, where would the government get the money to pay them? A lot of people have lost their livelihood. Some have passed on during that particular period. The financial sector cleanup needs to be more done. We call on the Bank of Ghana, the Ghana Education Service, the Commission for Civic Education, National Commission for Civic Education. Financial education is very key.
Okay, Sarah, we'll have to cap it off here
because of that. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Sairam Kawo. He is a senior lecturer at the UCC School of Business. Dr. Sairam Kawo has been our guest. Right before we get into sports, a lot of action over the weekend. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us bring you this segment. They're offering prostate screening for free if you're a man. Fertility screening for you if you're a woman. Reach out to them at their branches here in Accra, Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronoma here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrade Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hansa, and Esiama in Zaba. Their call lines 0244 867 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Muftau Nabila Abdullah is up next with sports.